Hey, I'm Tyler and I'm back with the Friday yard sale, our weekend recap video of everything we've talked about. And normally we do it all in the time it takes to drink a pint of beer, but this week I'm in Italy with Simon and Giulio, who are the founders of Bike Connection Agency, right?
Agency, yeah.
Agency.
Yeah, right.
And so we're at an event they put together that's a riff on what used to be the press camp in the US. So we get a bunch of brands together and us journalists get to go around and talk to everybody in kind of one-on-one meetings, which is super fun. But before we dive into that, first of all, enjoy this background. This is the Tuscany region of Italy, right?
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Massa Marittima. And gorgeous, great wine, good trails. It's
Good
been a little
food.
wet. Yeah, the food's amazing too.
Yeah. A little wet, but super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to go ride in just a little bit, but before that, we wanted to kind of talk about what's been going on this week. So our North American Handmade Bike Show, the NABS coverage, is still going. We've interviewed some more great builders, so super fun, 10-question format. Check those out. The Suspension Tech series is up again, focusing on dropper posts. This time it's how to maintain them. So if you've been having issues with your dropper posts, because we all do sometimes, check that one out. Just kind of gives you some quick tips on how to keep them functioning as well as possible. And two of the more techie fun things were Specialized Retool has like a 3D kind of mapping thing where they can hold little sensors, and it's almost using like a Microsoft Kinect type video camera system and stuff. And so when I went and saw Specialized last summer to do a little headquarters tour, they actually had some of the prototypes of the system where it was like a Kinect, and they just, it wasn't the ideal thing. So they've ended up building out this thing. So you put like, the fitter would hold a sensor by your knee and then by your ankle and wherever, and the camera kind of figures out, and then it just spits out like a little free report to get you ballpark on bike measurements.
That's pretty cool.
So pretty cool. So the full article's up on that. Check it out. And then the other thing that was really interesting, I wanted to get you guys' take from a European standpoint, because you guys are both from or live in and around Rome now.
Yep. Born and bred in Rome.
Right. Is so we've got Google and Uber and Ford and a bunch of others in the US testing self-driving cars, and one of the concerns we have as cyclists is whether or not they're going to see us. And so there's a pretty good article that Corey put together this week about the challenges that their cameras and their systems have with seeing cyclists, and one of them is that like pedestrians all kind of look the same, right? Cars kind of look the same. Well, with cyclists, we look a lot different, right? There's skinny bikes, there's fat bikes, there's trikes, there's thing. But then probably the bigger issue is it's really hard for their computers to predict what we're going to do. You know, so we might like veer around, somebody open their door, and we can react so quickly that the car's computers may not notice that. And then and also just that they have a hard time seeing us. But I was curious, like, being in the US, we see a lot of reports on what Google and Uber and them are doing to test. But what's going on over in Europe with self-driving cars?
Well, you mentioned us being from Rome, and from that point of view,
the traffic is nuts.
Yeah, well, cars have been self-driving for as long as I can remember there.
On your phone, reading a paper, drinking a coffee.
That might be an exception for Google. But other than that, I guess, I don't know. I guess it can be far more complicated in Europe than in
It can
the
be.
US.
And I think here we got a lot more regulations. Like I live in Barcelona now, and like Uber is basically outlawed. They just forced them out. So, but on the other hand, when I'm in the US, we use it all the time. And I think it's going to be a challenge. I mean, it's great things. I love all those things. Like, it's Uber, it's Airbnb. All those things are kind of coming from the US, making our life better, but then they sometimes kind of spin out of control. So I think we're in for an interesting time. And like self-driving cars, like US, you got big roads, open spaces. I would say come test it in Rome, some of the little alleys in this medieval town here, and we'll see how good it goes.
I was gonna say, like, some of the roads are super narrow because they were never ever designed for cars in mind, and these roads are hundreds if not thousands of years old, right? And it's not like the US where we're pretty young, and by and large the roads were made, the modern roads were made with cars in mind there. So that'll be an interesting test, right? Really want to teach a robot how to drive, send them here.
Yeah, but robots are pretty smart, right? They can do pretty much anything.
One day.
I mean, we sent the car to Mars this week.
Right.
What else can go wrong?
I don't know. All right, so Bike Connection Agency. You guys
Yeah.
started this. You used to work for SRAM. You used to work for Alpine Stars.
Yeah.
What made you guys want to put together this event and leave like solid jobs?
Yeah, well, basically, as you said, well, the initial idea, well, it was a mix of things, really. I mean, Simon wanted to go back to Europe, and we talked about starting our own thing before, so that was in the air. But we never really did it until he came back to Europe, and I left my job at Alpine Stars. And I had seen this format in the United States that is similar. Actually, was the pioneering thing for this kind of events,
Right.
and that was unheard of in Europe. So that's where we figured, why don't we try and set up a similar platform for Europe? And that was basically 7 months ago, and now we're here, the first edition of Bike Connection. So apparently it's working.
Yeah, it's
And,
good to know. You had 10 brands this year, right?
Yeah.
10 brands.
And how many? Like 16?
16
journalists?
editors.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
from
over the world, basically. It's been great. Like, I still remember we were out at Eurobike, and obviously I was super nervous. He was more relaxed. I was really super nervous.
Oh, we were drinking at the
Yeah, exactly.
That's why you
And
were relaxed.
I remember you coming by and be like, I know what you guys are doing. I'm coming. And I was like, oh, cool.
Right.
Like,
Right on.
It's
Right
it's
on.
working.
One down.
Why not? So no, it's been a trip. As Julius said, like I was having a great time in the U.S., but I wanted to get back to Europe for family reasons with me and my wife, and I really didn't have a plan job-wise, and then this thing came along, and it's been a trip. Like doing your own thing, it's exhilarating and it's super hard at times. It's lots of ups, lots of downs, but it's been great. It's been a huge learning experience, and stepping out of your comfort zone is always good, as we know. Like, we're all cyclists, so
Yeah.
that's what it's about. And
Was it hard to get brands to sign on for the first time around?
I would say it's been hard to convey the benefits.
Yeah, it was hard to get the message across in a way, but it wasn't hard once they understood what it was about, and once they realized it fit into their calendar and into their budget plans and all that, which of course may or may not do, depending on the fact that we were new and we announced it basically for a few months later,
Right.
to actually happen. But then they were pretty enthusiastic from the first.
It's cool.
Moment,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it takes some planning. I mean, from the brand standpoint too, it's not just getting the people here, but it's the product cycle, right? Like, to spend the money to come and get in front of all these editors, which cover, basically the world's worth of magazines and cycling websites, is do they actually have something to show off at this time of year? So like next year they'll know, okay, we need to have something new for February. This year there's definitely some new stuff, but a lot of it too is, I feel like, more relationship building, which is always really good too.
It is, and we feel like in today's landscape with like trade shows kind of been a little bit of all over the place, and
a little disappointing sometimes.
You said that, I didn't say. That's what you say. We felt that exactly what you said, that the relationship building part, getting that face-to-face time in a relaxed environment. I mean, in here it's you see the dining room is pretty full, but in the end it's around 60-70 people that are hanging out here for an event. It's great. Like, you can sit with a different company every night. You can meet journalists that you've never met. Different companies are meeting, and so it could even be a business opportunity. So yeah, I think it's what you said exactly. The timing. I mean, the product cycle is what it is, and I remember when our PR came out on Brain, as very very influential marketing manager from a big brand, said, "Oh, great idea. I don't understand where it fits in my product cycle," and I completely see his opinion, but it's great to see here that we got a great mix of brands, and some of them like really pushed it to get prototype stuff out here early to test with the media. And the good thing is that we got a summer event coming in June 2018 in Léger. So if that fits your product cycle better, we're gonna be there.
Yeah,
Right.
cool.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, speaking of those prototypes, let's go check some out.
For sure. Okay.
All right, our first stop today is with Formula, and I'm here with Vittorio. Tell me about this fork, because there's no stickers on it except for the ones that say prototype. So
Yeah.
you're not, it's kind of hiding in plain sight.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about it?
Honestly, not that much, unfortunately, because it's a prototype. So the thing that we want to do is like to give you kind of a sneak peek in our prototyping process. Of course, we're gonna launch some new exciting things in 2018.
Right.
You are one of the first one to test that, but there's not really much we can say. There is probably something you can assume just by having a looking around.
So it's built on the Selva chassis?
Yeah, it's built on the Selva chassis. We're gonna do some upgrade. One thing that we can say right now, that any upgrade that we will do on the Selva chassis, on the Selva, will be retrofit, because we don't want riders to buy a Formula product and then that same product is running out of date after 1 year. We don't want to force riders to have like 1 new product every year. If they believe they can do an upgrade with the new technology, they will be able to do that.
That's great. Right on. And then, so tell me the Selva chassis then. It's how big are the stanchions? What's the travel range?
Yeah, the stanchions are 35. The travel range of the Selva is from 130 to 180, so it's pretty big. And we have 2 versions, 650B and 29. The 29 is already suited also for 650B plus. And on the damping side, we have our exclusive CTS technology, which is something that allows the riders to fine-tune their fork based on their riding needs. We have 7 different CTS valves. It's super easy, it takes 5 minutes. You can completely change the damping, and with that the behavior of your forks. It's like having a personalized, customized shim stock.
Another thing that's new on this bike is the brakes. So you guys have the Cura brake inline now, but you do not have this 4-piston version of it. So anything you can tell us about this?
Of course, it's a prototype. What I can tell you is that this is the gold medal downhill brake, because this prototype is the one that Loic Bruni Specialized Gravity was racing in Cairns last year. It won the gold medal, so not even on the market, but still successful, would say, already successful. So this is the next evolution of the prototype the Loic Bruni was racing in Cairns, because we have a new rotors. It's still a prototype.
Right.
We cannot really tell if it's going to be our next rotor. Maybe, maybe not. We will give you more information in the next future. But this is brand new, so you are probably one of the first guy.
I guess to be the guinea pig.
Yeah, huh? Exactly, exactly.
All right. Well, if it's good enough for Loic, I'm sure it's more than capable of stopping me in my attempts at being awesome.
We hope so. Yeah, waiting for your
I
feedback.
hope so too.
Yeah, exactly.
Right on. All right. So when are these going to be available? When's the fork coming out? When are the brakes coming out?
Let's say 2018 right now. You will have more information soon. Let's say that one of the 2 products probably towards the beginning of the season in spring, and the other one more towards the middle season, midsummer. But we'll give you more details in the next weeks.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Welcome.
Let's go
Anytime. Have fun out there.
My next stop is with BMC Bikes. I'm with Antoine, the product manager for the whole thing, or just mountain bikes?
Mountain bikes.
Mountain bikes. All right. And this is the 2018 Speedfox, which is their 120mm travel trail bike. It was introduced at Eurobike last year. And what's really special about this bike is it comes with their Trailsync feature. So what it does is you pull the lever that you would normally just be using for your dropper. Go ahead, and what that does is at the same time, good angle, but at the same time it opens up the compression damping on the rear shock. And so when you would normally be dropping your seat posts is normally when you're going downhill, so you want a more active shock. And yeah, so give us a quick rundown on like why you guys came up with this design and how it works.
Yeah, we're as riders, we're true believers of the benefits of the dropper post, and we realized that dropper post, whoever you are, you know how long you've been riding bikes, you just benefit immediately from riding with a dropper. So most modern mountain bikes have a dropper post, and we also realized that most of full suspension mountain bikes have a compression damping adjustment, where people tend to activate in the climbs, but when they are done with climbing, they tend to forget to unlock or
I do it
flip
all the
that
time.
chip. And then, you know, the most enjoyable part of the ride is just, you know, ruined by the fact that it's not intuitive. So
And once you get going downhill, sometimes it's hard to stop, or you just don't want to stop to
you
flick
don't want
it
to
again.
stop, or you're just tired, and you will always go to the dropper post because the advantage is obvious, and you may forget about the lever on the shock because it's far away. You have to move the hand from the handlebar.
Yeah, and usually, from what I've seen, it's like if you're putting a remote lever on your post for the dropper, which almost everybody does now, you kind of eat up the space that you would have had for remote shock lever stuff. So it's one or the other. And so what you guys did was combine them, which at face level seems brilliant, but it is, to somebody who hasn't tried it, and I haven't tried it yet, it seems a little weird. Like maybe I don't want this opened up, but you guys have found that once people try it, it's
and we
like it.
Some of the first reactions were like, "Oh, you are taking away a decision from me. Like maybe I want to have the saddle high and the suspension open." Yeah, we agree. But at the end of the day, I can make a comparison with a wide bar. The wide bar, is serving by improving your ride 99% of the time. But there is in your ride these two trees apart from each other where your nice wide handlebar doesn't fit.
Right.
And you will remember only that part. But the rest of the time, you get a greater control, the wide handlebar is really helping. And that's the Trailsync. For 99% of the time, it does work and it makes sense. Yes, there will be some times where maybe it's does maybe less sense.
I feel like that's our comments on Bikerumor sometimes. It's 99% awesome comments and people and content, and then you get this one person that just is a jackass.
And that's that's human nature. I'm trying to find the exact moment where your great idea is not such a great idea.
Right,
but at the end of the day, by simplifying and taking that decision away from you, which is true, we also think we enhance the ride.
So how does this work? Show me real quick.
Sure. When you drop, it's an integrated post first off.
Okay.
So
I'm going to pull the lever.
Yeah. So when you drop, you actually slide the tube inside the seat tube, and there is a bicycle wheel spoke that just slides through, and then this is a standard shock, Fox remote shock, that has 7mm cable pull to operate the low speed compression. So what this spoke does, it activates a little bit of a slider, which is connected to a standard derailleur cable, and that's just pushing the cable, and this is spring loaded, so it opens, and when you just lift, it pulls back that little slider, and the cable is pulled, so it just rotates that low speed compression.
Right on. So you're just using the spring tension on the lever that's already there to pull that cable back.
Correct. This is really simple. It's fully mechanical. There's no electronics. There's no oil. The dropper post works out of a log body and a pin.
Right.
So it's a very solid system. It has a very clean record.
And that pin is in a groove, and so you don't get any rotational play, and it's a brass, and so presumably it's all rebuildable. You can replace all the parts if needed.
This whole system can be rebuilt in about half an hour. You can also do basic maintenance like lubrication of your main seal by just doing this, and then
very nice.
Pop it back in.
Easy. Thanks
Easy.
a lot.
Thank you.
All right, I'm done with my ride, back in normal clothes. I'm here with Vincent of Foxhead, and this has been a long time coming. It's been 12 years since the Flux helmet has had any kind of like major redesign.
Yeah.
And this is it. So tell us about it. What's new and exciting about the Flux?
So yeah, we decided it was time for an update.
Yeah.
After 12 years. So yeah, we totally redesigned the helmet. As you can see, it has a big influence of the new design that we already started with, like the Meta first, and after with the Pro Flame, with the Pro Flame last year. So it features like the MIPS,
right.
MIPS technology inside that you can see. And the most important feature that we have actually for this helmet is the 300 degrees retention system. It's like a retention system with nearly like take all over your head. So this is like super good actually for different reasons. So first, like it fits better to any kind of head morphology, any shape of head, which is really good. So because of this as well, you have like less pressure point on the head, so the comfort is enhanced.
And they attach. It's just this thin plastic thing. It attaches kind of like right about the front of the temples,
yeah, exactly.
and then goes all the way around.
Yeah, it's like it's coming from here all over around to here. But as you can see, like the retention system is like pretty flexible, so that is like it's really comfortable.
Cool.
And just like in 2 clicks you can really like adjust like as you want the helmet to your head.
And then the mounting points, there's a lot of different options for the mounting points. So you
Yeah.
can raise and lower the rear part, you can change the
Exactly.
position of the front.
Exactly, there is like 3 positions behind, and in the front you have like 2 positions like this, really like for people who are like in between 2 sizes, or who like have like the to wear like the helmet a little bit differently.
And it comes in 2 versions. It comes in this one with the MIPS and
Yes.
one without. What are the other differences between the two?
So basically, like for the non-MIPS version, will not have like the MIPS. They will not have like the ecstatic liner. It's like against like all the bacteria and microbes and everything,
Right.
which make it like also like cleaner and less smelly in after like a long day
And you
riding.
get 2 sets of the
Yes,
ecstatic
yes,
with
yes.
the MIPS version.
Yeah, with the MIPS version, there is like 2 sets of it.
Right.
The other point that is not on the MIPS version is the closing system.
Right.
The grid lock was like it came first like with the Pro Frame, which actually is super convenient.
Yeah.
Even with like I don't know if you tried it maybe with
So
the
there's
mud,
times when
like
you're trying to like one-handed and keep riding and
Exactly.
click at this, you can just
Exactly.
sort of swing it in the right direction and
yeah.
it'll
So
close
this
for
is
you.
like really easy. Like you do it like this. After that, like there is some feature that like both helmets have, and it's really important for us. Like the retention system, it's on both helmets, even at the entry level like price point, but also like the visor with the multiple position. And also like what is really important is that, as you can see, this helmet is like get a lot of ventilation, get a lot of bores, and to extract the air we had to make like bigger ones behind. But to reinforce the whole system, we had like kind of like a skeleton system who was like made inside the frame at the same time that like the
Right.
I say like melted down.
Yeah.
So
like that
just the-
internal roll cage type thing.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's like security and comfort, even at a low point, you get it.
Right.
So
But I think the most important thing is it looks good. Hope you enjoyed the little mix-up of what we did here. Thanks a ton to everyone that came to Bike Connection Agency. Saw some cool stuff, and you can see it all getting posted on Bikerumor either already or over the next few days. All right, have a great weekend.